This one is going to be like, wow. Of course, the two of your LARPers going to say, oh, this person deserved to be, hassled by the cops. This is why there's cop watching out there. And you're going to see why right here. Watch. Please flip out a bystander filming. Please arrest a bystander for filming traffic stop. Yeah, the bystander was just simply doing a cop watch, which is the this person that's filming has every right. It's his First Amendment constitutional right. And when you're doing a cop watch or an audit, you have your right, your First Amendment right to do so, as long as you're on a public sidewalk, a street, or parking lot. And I'm sure this guy was doing. He wasn't breaking no law, harassing or anything. What? Let's get to it.
No question about it. If you're a passenger, you don't have to identify.
Hey, you are now breaking the law. You're interfering with the
Voice alone can't be deemed interference.
Yes, it is interference. You think
Voice alone can't be. What's your name and badge number?
It's printed on my shirt. Move out.
Are you trying to intimidate me?
No, I'm not trying to intimidate you.
So why are you so close to me?
Okay, give me your ID. You've interfered with an investigation. If you please give me your ID, you're going to jail. Hey, go ahead.
Get your supervisor on the scene.
I don't need a supervisor. You can see him down at the jail. You're going to jail for interference.
What's interference? Just so you saying
interfering with my investigation.
All right, he got his. All right, he got his hand.
You have no right to interfere with an investigation.
He put his hands on me. Can I put my phone in my pocket? So deprivation of rights under the cover of law.
No, you're investigating.
I have a right to record.
You do. You can record. I don't care.
So you saying because I said something that's interfering? Get your supervisor on the scene before you make a big mistake.
You see this? I don't need a supervisor.
Okay, get your lieutenant on the scene.
You're going over to my car.
3106, we have another 95 out there.
So you telling me is your body cam on?
Okay, you think you know the law?
So you're going to my pockets right now. I don't consent to searches or seizures.
You are interfering with my investigation.
I don't consent to search. Get your super. So you turn my phone on too?
I did, yes.
Okay, you
don't have an ID?
Man, cops can be such damn crybabies.
Oh, I know. Tell me
about my
it.
investigation.
And here's the thing as well. Don't you just absolutely just, when the cops, they get so mad when you know the law or, RCW 15 or, and that guy was right. The passenger doesn't have to identify himself. A lot of states are a lot like that. A lot of states when you get pulled over for a traffic stop, just the driver has to. Passenger don't have to do like that. And told the passenger, hey, you don't have to identify yourself. You're just a passenger. Like if someone's walking down the street and, like that, and the cop's like, well, you need to identify yourself. What for? And there's like, it's like, what kind of respect me play? Like this guy trying to, he knows about law. And the cops just absolutely just hate it. They're like, oh, what do you think you know? Well, I know more than you do. Where the fuck did you get your badge at? But come on, let's get back to it.
Let me give you some facts, all right? So this happened in Killeen, Texas, all right? The police chief, he's backing these cops. His name is Chief Charles F. Kimball. Released a statement saying, and I quote, while conducting their investigation, they were approached by an individual who interjected himself into the investigation by engaging with other individuals in the vehicle, distracting the officers, and creating
bullshit cops-plaining
for all involved parties. The subject in question was arrested and charged with violating Section 16-107, interfering with or obstructing an officer. Okay? Now, let me remind you, it is legal to record in Texas. It's legal to record police officers in Texas. It's also legal to talk to individuals in Texas. Both of those are two legally protected things you can do.
Yep.
Here's the fact of the Texas law. In Texas and other states, it is legal to film, it is legal to photograph, or otherwise record anything that can be seen in a public
place.
Those who are out in public.
And ladies and gentlemen, I have been preaching about that over and over again. And people don't know why people go out there filming the cops thinking, oh, they're just harassing and obstruction. No, people were filming the cops out there when they do cop watches or like First Amendment to see if people respect people taking pictures or filming out there, whether if they're on the public sidewalk, street, or parking lot, in the public vicinity of an area, they have their First Amendment constitutional right to do so. And this guy was telling the passenger, hey, you don't have to ID yourself. And there are people in a lot of situations, a lot of states, it is true.
Public, whether they are police officer or a member of the public, do not have what's called reasonable expectation
to say anything,
that anything they say
or say is private,
or even do. All right. It is important to note that while it is legal to take recordings of police and others in public place, police officers may ask those who are recording to step away from the scene if they feel that person is interfering with police business. In cases such as these, those recordings and interaction must comply. All right? The man was more than enough distance away.
You know, and a lot of states are like that. If you're doing a cop watch, they tell you, the police will tell you, you have to like, at least 10, 15 feet away from like that. And if you're still, like, if I was to go out there cop watching and a cop tell me, say, sir, you can film all you want. You can do all the cop watching, but you need to, step back. No problem. Oh, let me step back another 5, 10 feet. That way your comfort zone. That way you can do your investigation, do your job like that. But that cop came up to that guy.
No interference, okay? While police can ask members of the public to step back if they are interfering with police work, members of the public can also politely remind police officers of their rights if they are only asked to stop the recording. However, the police cannot seize a person's phone or tamper with the photos and other recordings that were taken in any way. The only exception to this is when the police officer has a warrant to take the phone.
Exactly. That's a big key player right there as well. The cops said then you can seize your phone. No. You tell the cops that you cannot touch my property unless you get a warrant. They say you need a warrant for my phone or my camera, and you need a search warrant if you want to go through my device.
Overstepping here.
Yep.
Okay? This is why people do not like the police. This is part of it. If they're doing their jobs lawfully, a man saying, as a passenger, you have certain rights. Who's remaining distant. As a law enforcement executive, law enforcement officer, you should be okay with somebody actually knowing the law. I mean, it's really ironic, isn't it, that those who sign up to work in law don't like it. They don't like the law. They don't want you to know the law. Why would a law enforcement official want you to not know the law? So they can manipulate you.
Exactly.
So they can violate the law. So they can get away with it. Ben, thoughts?
Yeah.
Well, that's the point, too. Some cops are like that. They think they're over the head and they're power hungry with their badge of gun. They're hoping that you're one of those people that don't know the law so that it can manipulate, charge you with crimes that you never even committed like that. So that way, because in some, statistics, small cities like that, cops have to make a certain amount of arrests and write tickets to get their quota and get a good paycheck. Otherwise, they go down the ranks or even fired. See where I'm going?
Yeah, I mean, to that point, it's very interesting that a police officer is the only person that is allowed to use ignorance of the law as a defense. The only person. They're the only. Everybody else, right? If you take a right turn on red and you're not supposed to, you can get pulled over. You're still going to get a ticket. But if a police officer says, oh, well, I thought this was the law. I thought the law was this. Then courts have very consistently sided with police officers and said, oh, well, the police officer didn't know the law, so it's actually totally fine that they arrested you for no reason because they were trying to do their best. They're the only person that magically gets to not know the law. And then the notion of creating a safety hazard. Look, the only safety hazard in that situation was the man with the badge on his chest. Okay,
Yeah.
like let's just be totally real. It's just obscene that we are all expected to perfectly know the law. We're not allowed to recite it to police officers because if you let the police officer know what the law is, then it removes their ability to use ignorance as a defense and then puts us in this situation. That's why police officers are so upset. They don't want themselves to be reminded of the law, lest it make them have to do their jobs properly.
Yep. And listen, as I've said before, and I will say again, the policy is accurate. The law is right in the state of Texas. But when culture is adversarial to the policy, culture will eat policy alive every day.
Yeah. And this is why, and I'll say this before we get out of here, this is why cop watching is very important as well. I mean, with the day in technology as well, I mean, people have cameras like cell phones or tablets or camcorders, and people are going to be, they're not going to be hesitant for a second if they feel like the cop is doing something wrong or violating a person's right or about to do something to harm a person or, to injure a person that does not deserve to be injured or a person that doesn't deserve to be arrested like that. People are going to stand up for that person, like that, and shame on the cops like that and call them out like that. And cops hate it as well. And unfortunately, there are some states and cities that have banned cop watching. But thank God I live in a state that doesn't. Heck yeah. With that said, I'm out of my job. Peace out. Before I go, FTP people, FTP, when you see some shit go down, film the police. That's what Denise Lynn has always said, along with Laura Shark, Tom Zera, and Pink Camera Magic. FTP, film the police. It's your right to do so.